Good evening. This is Liz Busquets. We're here for the June board teleconference. For those who are listening for the first time, for each item we go around and discuss, and we vote needed. Tonight we have here Cindy, Denise, Jean, Judy, Ken, Linda, and Rachel. Rick could not be here, and of course myself. So we're gonna get down to it and go to last month's email business. So we will need a motion.
This is Rachel. I make a motion to approve all the business from last month, email business.
Denise, I can second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Rachel, seconded by Denise, to approve the last month's email business. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, system liaisons report. Rachel?
Hey guys, Inventive is still working with Ray. They're still working on bug fixes, but we are looking at very soon being able to define what our priorities are, even realizing that we will be working to complete their original plan where we dropped off from Frog Slayer. But even within that plan, within that RFP, we have priorities. And a question was brought up on ASC members regarding issues that people find within the system and how should they report those. Most definitely, those need to go back to your ASCA business office, either to the representative that handles that program or Ray Fryer, the business office manager. Ray is actually the point of contact with Inventive, and even if you were to report it to your affiliate rep, if you couldn't get Ray, that's great because she or he is still going to follow up with Ray. So yes, by all means, we do want anyone who finds any issues with the online capabilities on the ASCA website to contact the business office. On the report this week, Inventive is making good progress. They brought on a new engineer and he's getting up to speed very rapidly. So that's about where we are right now, guys. Does anyone have any questions for us?
Rachel, this is Judy.
Yes, ma'am.
Just to be clear, because again, a lot of our members don't necessarily, and actually some of us directors don't have the computer experience. We're talking about Inventive working, this is just on the website right now, correct?
Well, it's on the back side of the website, which is the system. It's the system, Judy, not the front end of the website is what anyone can access. The back end of the website is actually where the system is maintained, and that's where you do your online registration, online section, and anything that a member can do online. That is the system.
Okay. But we're still not working on the actual full computer program yet.
That is correct. We're still working on bug fixes, and we're working to update the old IDMS system with the eventual plan of migrating that over into ASCA's system. That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
And so that's why I said, if anyone finds anything, that's actually a bug. And so because we're still doing bug work, that would be good to find out if there's issues out there with anything that's online so that we can take care of all those before we proceed to do actual system programming upgrade.
Any other questions for Rachel? All right, so if that's it, Rachel, then thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is the 2019 finance budget. And Rick is not here, but Denise is, so I assume Denise can help us.
So, math is not my forte. So we went back over the budget, and there was a miscommunication on the cattle expense between the contractor and myself to our advantage, which greatly reduced the expense of cattle, and then also the use of the actual days. So the new budget for the finals, stock dog finals, total is $29,637. So did anyone have any questions?
We did that 29.
I'm
I
sorry.
have a question. Are you going to go around, Liz?
Yeah, let me get the number first and then I'll go around. 29, I'm sorry, Denise, can you repeat that figure?
$29,637.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna go around so everybody can get a chance to ask any questions for Denise. Cindy?
No, I'm fine. These are the figures that we found from last month, and they show about a $5,000 decrease in the cost there that we were able to find. So, thank you, Denise.
Mm-hmm.
Jean?
Yeah, I think this looks good. Thank you, Denise.
Judy?
I'm fine with it.
Ann?
It looks good. Thank you, Denise.
Linda?
Okay by me. Thanks, Denise.
Rachel?
Okay, so you're going to hate me, Denise.
Okay, I probably will. What question do you have?
I do not believe that it's correct that we're going to be charged $1,600 a day for finals for ducks. I believe that somehow the duck number was not changed and maybe the total amount of the duck cost is in there, because if you charge $1,600 times 3 for nationals and any other pretrial, your ducks are going to end up right now costing much more than sheep and cattle. So I don't believe that $3,200 number on ducks is correct.
Well, that 32.
Good
You
catch.
know what? I'll have to. I can look at that, but I think that part of that is the entire cost of the ducks from hatch to then and spread out. But let me recheck that. I'll get back to you.
Yeah,
on that.
Right, because and I understand the pain and suffering you're going through, and I'm going to go through it, and I would probably want to charge $3,200 for every day I have to keep them. But for our finals purposes, if you would recheck that, I think it would be great. And I hate to be the single guy out here, but I just can't see that that's correct.
Okay. All right. No problem. I'll check it.
Thank you.
any other questions for Denise? So we can't, okay. So we're gonna wait for Denise to give us an update on the ducks.
Right. I'll get you an update.
Yeah, I don't.
Go ahead.
I think that, yeah, I think that she has to give us an update before we can make an motion to approve it.
Right. Right. So Denise will give us an update and then we can take care of it.
Right. I'll get that in by Monday. Sorry, you guys.
Thanks,
We've looked at these
Thanks,
things at different numbers. So.
Yeah. Well, don't go too far away, Denise, because the next item is also you. Grace period for news actioning deadline.
Okay. Wait a second. I'm sorry. What was that, Liz?
The next item, it says grace period for new sanctioning deadline.
Okay.
So you guys
Oh,
had,
that's right.
you guys had talked about on email allowing the 30-day grace period, and I just had the motion by Denise and the second by Judy. And I don't know if you want me to read that motion out.
That will probably be good.
So it was, it started off with, I motion that the increase of days for sanctioning be moved to 60 days postmarked before the date of an ASCA sanctioned event. This will be for all ASCA programs and go into effect June 1, 2019 upon board approval. And then, I just lost it. Club sanctioning event.
Who has a mute button?
Club sanctioning events prior to July 30th will have a grace period of 30 days for adjustment to the new time frame. After July 1, all clubs are required to meet the 60-day sanctioning rule. The rationale is many times there are mistakes in the sanctioning forms. This extension of an additional 15 days will give both the ASCA office and the affiliates time to correct errors and have the events publicized for a longer period of time.
This is Judy.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I was the second on this, but I have a problem with it now because if you wanted to have a show at the end of July, you would already have had to sanction it. So this motion does absolutely nothing for shows in July. It would be applicable to shows in August because there's still time. Anybody who sanctioned a show in July, it's already been sanctioned. And if they took us at our word for 60 days as of June 1st, they wouldn't have even planned a show. And as of right now, it's past the 45 days for the last weekend in July. So we either need to change this motion or simply dismiss it.
So we will need to figure out a date, okay, a date, if we're gonna have this motion, figure out a date that will give the clubs the actual grace period.
This is Jean. Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, ma'am.
Basically, what it looks like to me from over here is we decided that the requirement of having everybody's sanctioning be 60 days from June 1st forward, you know, was a shocker to people. So it seems to me that basically what we're asking to do is delay that implementation for another 30 days. That's what I read. I read that we want to delay the implementation of the 60-day sanctioning rule that was to take effect on June 1st to now take effect on July 1st to give ASCA more time to get the word out to its affiliates. And I could vote for that.
Okay, so we're talking about then events that are being sanctioned after July 1st. Is that correct?
Any event sanctioned after July 1st would have to comply with the 60-day sanctioning rule.
Except that means any show in July would have had to have been sanctioned in May before we passed the rule.
I think
So if we sorry.
I'm not explaining myself well. Anything that's already sanctioned, this doesn't apply to. What we're talking about, anybody who wants to sanction a show from today forward, if they have a show well, not even from today forward, as of July 1st, if they are going to sanction a show, that show has to be 60 days in advance of that sanctioning date. That's what we attempted to do. Go ahead. Sorry.
In other words, It will have to be a show that is being conducted or put on around September 1st.
Or it could be October, or it could be January.
Yeah,
It could be
I mean from
anything.
September 1st on, because that will be
Any
the 60
show
days.
sanctioned, yeah, any show sanctioning request that comes in July 1st must be for a show that is 60 days in, that is held no sooner than 60 days in the future.
Right. I think that was the intention of that, because we had
I
talked
think it was
about,
too.
yeah.
I think it was too. Because our other one that we passed was that it was going to be 60 days out from June 1st. Apparently, we didn't do a good enough job getting that information out, so we'll push it back 30 days, you know, and try to do better about getting that information out. And hopefully this will help the affiliates get on the calendar, and it will help the business office make sure that things are corrected and ready to go in a timely manner. So basically what we're doing is just delaying the one that we had for June 1st to now make it July 1st. However, I don't know how this affects the ones that we've already received as of June 1st. Did we have some submitted that were less than 60 days? Is that the reason for this?
I think the reason for that was because we were afraid that that someone would do it at the last minute and they would be on the 45-day line, and so it would not give them enough time. But it seems like
my question is, have we had sanctioning submitted June 1st that did not meet that 60-day requirement that we put in place?
As far as I know, Ray has not told me that has happened, but I didn't ask either. But I would assume that he would tell me if there was such a problem.
Right. So maybe there's not a problem. Maybe we don't need a grace period. If people are complying with the one that we passed at the spring meeting.
Jean, in some ways, I don't think we'd know if they're not complying, because if they know it's 60 days and they didn't have their stuff together, they just didn't sanction the show at all.
Okay, but that goes with any deadline. That goes with any deadline. If we're trying to get a trial together and we realize we're coming up on that 45-day and we still can't maybe get that last judge or whatever, we just kind of have to go, oh, well, let's plan it for a couple weeks out instead. I'm just trying to look at both sides. I have no problem with us extending it to July 1st, but we're already midway through June. We're 15 days past a rule that we passed that's already in effect, and
we also
haven't had an Go ahead. No, go ahead.
We also put this into effect without ever contacting the affiliates or telling them this was upcoming. We just said, poof, here it is. Now it's 60 days.
Well, that was the part that wasn't supposed to happen that way. So
that was something that was also brought up to me from one of the committees that I'm liaison for, and he says, well, we didn't know about this, and it should have come to the committee before it was put into effect so that all the committees would know. And so I can agree with that, and as a liaison, I'll try to be sure that I contact all the committees whenever there is a rule change that would them. But it was on, it was on the ASCA list also in discussion.
Right. It is imperative that the board use every method available to get this information out, including our committees and constant contact and stuff like that. So if we pass this go forward thing for July, I guess the next 2 weeks can be spent ensuring that we have put this information on every platform that's possible. And that, you know, okay. I think that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Anyone else has any questions for Denise?
This is Rachel. I actually don't have a question. Maybe I have a comment. Since we botched this so badly the last time, and since we're halfway through June, and we want to give our affiliates every benefit of the doubt to have time to comply with rules, is there any consideration of just moving it out to August 1, that anything sanctioned after August 1 must be 60 days?
I agree with that,
Rachel.
That was kind of my thought.
Yeah.
We have watched this all the way around, and so now we're less than 2 weeks till July 1, guys.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't have a problem with that.
That's what I was gonna say when I had my turn, because I come last. But
you don't get a turn, Liz.
Yeah, I usually don't actually. Yeah, that August 1st would seem to me the more appropriate date, just to make sure that we get the word out. I see no reason why we can't say any shows sanctioned after August 1st must meet that 60-day deadline.
I agree.
Okay, so it will be up to Denise now to change the motion, and then we can vote on that one.
Okay. So I would like to change the motion to have the grace period for the 60-day sanctioning requirement extended to any show sanctioned after August 1st must meet the 60-day requirement.
All right, and you still seconding that, Judy?
No, because we're now, I mean, we're already past the first weekend in August for the 60 days. If we're going to do this, it should be for September 1st, I think, as Rachel suggested. Because, again, August, we've already passed the 60-day sanctioning period.
I think the wording might need some help. We're not saying shows held in August. We are saying shows sanctioned. When I send in my sanctioning paperwork on August 1st for a show, somewhere in the future, it's got to be 60 days out from the date I send in my sanctioning paperwork. That's a better word right there. A better phrase right there. It has to be 60 days out from the date of my sanctioning request. How's that?
Request. There we go. Yes, because I was thinking of it the other way. Yes.
Yes, it will be like whenever the clubs are sending their sanctioning paperwork to the office, it must be 60 days out if it's done after August 1st.
Right.
Yes, the sanctioning request must be submitted 60 days before the show.
Right.
Right.
How about that, Denise?
Yes, the request for sanctioning for shows after August 1st must meet the 60-day request or requirement.
Yeah.
No. No. Because if I'm requesting a show on the first weekend of August, it already had to be sent in. So we need some way to show that.
No,
I'm sending the paperwork on August the 1st for a show that will happen in October. It's 60 days before the October show.
Right.
But that was phrased incorrectly. It should be any sanction request submitted on August 1st or after must meet the 60-day, I don't know, sanction rule, whatever.
Well,
Any
that's
request
what I,
for sanctioning, any request for sanctioning on or after August 1st, I don't know, Cal, I need your help.
Yes, Cal.
Must be for a show that's 60 days out.
yes. So that would be it would have to be at least, it would be a show sanctioned for October. The request is sent at August the 1st. It has to be 60 days after that when the show is. So the sanction request form goes.
Any request,
Hey, this is Rachel. Can I help y'all out with this?
please do.
Effective August 1, 2019, any sanctioning request for future shows, trials, etc. must comply with the 60-day rule.
Works for me.
How does that sound, Denise?
That sounds good to me. Pretty much what it
But
said before.
Judy, we need for it to be good with Judy.
Yes, I know.
Yes, any sanctioning request made after August 1st must
Exactly.
comply with it. Yes,
Right.
and I'm cool with it as long as the business office understands it. We're all golden.
Yeah, I'll talk to Ray about it. Okay. So, Carla, could you please read the motion one last time?
Okay, I don't really have it all together. I was kind of just writing it down as everybody said things. Let's see.
So let me have what.
I just
what
have the
I
base
think.
sentence, what you have here, which is just effective August 1st, 2019. Any sanctioning request for future show trials must comply with the 60-day rule.
Any sanction request for, and I like the fact that Rachel included the other programs also, for stock, for rally, obedience, all programs made after August the 1st must comply with the 60-day sanctioning rule.
That is correct.
And I'm going to tell you, there's a technicality there because you say after August 1st. So that means August 2nd, which is fine.
Okay.
But
no,
if we intend for it to be August 1st, we need to have the wording correct.
That's why the way that Rachel said it, I think, was the best.
Okay, yes. Effective August 1st.
Yes.
August. Yes. Good job, Rachel.
I'm just tired of being on the phone, I must tell you.
Yeah. That East Coast thing, Rachel.
Okay. So that's the motion. So any further discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right. So there's one more item, and it's also Denise. It's junior age to participate. Go ahead, Denise.
Okay. So in the rule book, it says for juniors, the Pee-wee's age is 3 to 5. And that, according to the junior committee, does indicate that nothing under that age is part of the program. And so Andrea suggested that as a administrative or whatever you call that, housekeeping type thing, improvement, that it should really state in our rules that no exhibitor under the age of 3 is allowed in any competition. So she felt that rather than having it to go through the committee as a rule change, that it was more of an administrative change or addition to the rule.
So she wants us to go ahead and do it rather than the committee do. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, she felt that it should be approved because it's sort of like the rule, because it starts at the age of 3, that the assumption then is if you're under 3, there is no program for you, which they want to be true and is accepted as true for safety reasons, etc. So she felt that rather than having to go through all the motions of changing it, it would just be added. A line would just be added to that, to that effect.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go around to see what everybody thinks. Cindy?
Let the committee tell us how they want it worded and where in the rule book they want it. I don't know if it's going to conflict with the way we have non-regular classes. Is there going to be a loophole of how clubs offer non-regular classes?
Well, Pee-wees and sub-juniors are in the junior program non-regular
They're
classes.
non-regular. But
They are not.
Affiliates offer non-regular classes all the time, whether it's jackpots or novice something, or, you know. So they want it spelled out that
they want it.
No one under 3 competes.
Can't compete
So
in an ASCA.
I'm just thinking we have to really work on if that's the intent, we have to work on the wording so there's no loophole with a non-regular class.
Okay. So do you want the committee to bring that up? If it's going to be a program-wide, ASCA program-wide thing?
No, I think we need to discuss and make sure that we get the wording correctly.
Okay.
If we're going to make it program-wide and not just to one program.
Right. Well, I haven't seen too many stock programs incorporate children under 3 years old, but I can understand. But yes, that was a safety feature of that, because the rules years ago for Pee-wees used to say 0 to 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
But then it changed to 3 to 5 because of the safety issues. There have been problems with, little guys in the ring. They're just too small. They're too little. They're crying. They're falling. They're run over by their dogs, etc. So that was why they changed it to 3 to 5. And so assuming, and there again, the word assumption comes up, that children under 3 are not to participate because they're not in the program. But now, with all the interpretation systems that people come up with, they felt that needs to be added in there, that there just is no child under 3 years old allowed in any competition in the programs.
So I just think we need to work on our wording so that we can. I mean, I agree with it. I just feel we need to work on the wording of it so that we get it across the board and take away any loopholes.
Would you like me to talk with Chuck, and we'll postpone this for a discussion time and bring it back to July?
Yeah, Chuck probably has an opinion on it, on how, to make it a little bit more concrete.
Okay.
Can we finish going around?
Yeah.
Thank you, Judy. I'm going to continue going around. Jean.
Sorry, my dog. Okay, so Denise, when you first brought this up, it sounded like the junior committee was trying to make this a recommendation for everything that ASCA does. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, I think it's in the junior committee because they're definitely juniors.
I understand that, but one committee can't set rules for other committees. I can see the value in making something policy-wide. Hang on a second. My husband just came home and the dogs are like nuts. I can see the value in making something policy-wide, but I just want to make sure I understood that correctly. I think that this is something that ASCA needs to discuss and decide whether this is something that will work for us and whether we need to make the rule so that including non-regular events that we ASCA do not have children under the age of 3 participating. So I do think we need to get our attorney's opinion on that. And we'll have to decide whether or not it applies only to, you know, real events or non-regular events or all of the above.
Right. I think that the junior.
I remember when
junior...
Hey, Jay? I remember when it went from zero to 4 and went down to the went back to the 3 to 5, and I understand the reasoning behind it, and I think it's probably fairly sound. I don't think the other programs have really thought about it because they don't generally have small children like that competing.
Right.
So I'm not sure whether it's necessary or not. But I mean, in my opinion, I think that would be something that we would ask Chuck to see if that would be something that we would want to do across the board for ASCA.
Right. But the junior just a second. Hold just a second, Ron. The junior committee was actually probably more actively searching for this for the junior committee because they're the junior kids, and so maybe I misspoke as far as all programs, but juniors are juniors, and so they just wanted it clarified that just by omission of their ages 0 to 3 does not mean that they're still eligible to do that. So that's why she thought it was a clarification and a housekeeping administrative situation to add that 0 to 3 is not eligible for junior competition.
Well, if we're just talking about junior competition, then I would support that change right now. If she's wanting it across if the committee is wanting it across the board for everything that ASCA does, I think that would require a more in-depth conversation. Not that I believe there are a whole bunch of children less than 3 in the stock arena or agility or whatever. I just feel like we can't, and I understand that these are the juniors, but the junior committee is kind of heavily weighted towards the confirmation side, which is fine.
Right.
So, we don't know what non-regular events might be going on out there with small children.
Right.
So
I would agree.
But if it was just for the junior committee, then I see no problem.
Right. At this point, I think it is just for the junior committee. So we should go around and finish going around on that.
Okay, Judy.
If the juniors want something in their rule book, they need to write it for their rule book. We should not be writing things for them. Once that comes to the board and we think it's a good general recommendation, then we can go on with it, ask the other programs if they think something like that is valid for their program, and they can write rules to also do it. Or we can do it like the communicable disease or something like that. But I really don't think it applies much to other committees. And I really think if juniors want this, it's something they can add to their rule book right now. They need to just make a motion, send it in, and we can talk about it.
Thanks, Judy. Ken?
Well, first of all, I really don't understand what the problem is, and I don't understand why this is even coming up. We've already had the discussion, and in our dog show competitions, in our structured non-regular classes, and in junior competition, nobody now under the age of 3 can compete. Pee-wees are 3 to 5. From what I see, Denise is promoting an idea here that we don't want kids under 3 involved in, no non-regular class at all. No plush puppy class, no costume class, nothing fun to focus on the little kids. Same with talk, where we start doing little handling things with them. We do stick horse competitions, things like that. I would not ever support. This would be the very first prohibition ASCA would be creating, preventing the affiliates from designing their own non-regular classes. And we've never discussed that. We've always been open to allow them to do what's in reason for them. There is no problem here because the competition is already well regulated. That's been changed. But right now, I don't understand why we're saying 3 to 5-year-old kids, we can't plan a non-regular class because the kids like it, the parents like it, the affiliates like it, the public likes it. What are we doing?
Sit.
Do you have anything else, Ken?
No, I just think we really need to define, if we're going to discuss something, we need to define why we're discussing it. And this one is not clear at all because the competition is already well regulated by rule.
Okay, thanks, Ken. Linda?
I pass.
Okay, Rachel?
We're saying, well, what junior committee can write in their rule book, but unfortunately, the juniors also compete across other programs. And I will tell you that I would be extremely concerned, even if it were a non-regular class, with a 3 to 5-year-old being put out in the stock arena. Maybe ducks, I could accept that, but not certainly not on sheep or cattle. So we have to be careful what we allow in our programs in terms of ages of children. So this definitely needs to be discussed with Doug if this is planned to be program wide.
Okay, thanks, Rachel. I'm gonna say what I'm thinking here. I think that there is a lack of clarity about exactly what it is that the junior committee wants. There are 2 issues here. One, as Judy stated, if it's going to be in the junior rule book or anything like that, whatever it is that they want to do, it has to go through the committee. I don't think it's a good precedent for the board to actually change things, even if they're administrative, in the program without actually having committee, go through that. The second thing is that, like Rachel and others have said, if there is an attempt to do something ASCA wide, then that has to go through Chuck. So my opinion is that the junior committee needs to clarify exactly what it is that they want to do. And if they want to do either an administrative change or whatever it is, they need to go through it. And then it comes to the board, and then the board can discuss it and see what we want to do about it. That's where I stand. Any other discussion?
This is Denise.
Yeah.
I don't think that from what the committee has talked to me about with this, it's not about the fun little things that these kids do. It's the actual a junior showmanship class as these are defined in the rule book. You know, you have the 3 to 5 year old peewees come in and they do a pattern, and the same way with the sub juniors. And yes, they're non-regular classes, but that's not for kids under 3. They didn't define, well, so maybe they need to, fun little things that they do that you know are parent assisted or whatever you want to call them. So I can take that back to the junior committee, and they can look at some definition, more definition.
This is
Yeah.
Jean. May I say something?
Go ahead.
I think the junior rules already clarify this. That the only ones that are eligible for the junior awards are this age and this age, and you have your non-regular that's 3 to 5, and that's it. So I'm not sure what they're trying to clarify, because the rules already say who is eligible and who isn't eligible in the junior program.
It does, but it doesn't address 3 and under, and that's what they were wanting to address, that age group, because we've seen the class.
Denise, 3 and under in the regular classes, or 3 and under as a non-regular, fun, non-whatever math?
A non-regular class. In the rule book, in the junior program, a non-regular peewee class is 3 to 5 years old, and they do the same thing there as they do in another junior class that's older, just a little easier, that thing. So what they were saying is, in that type of a class, the non-regular class should stipulate that kids under 3 are not supposed to be to compete in that non-regular class. I don't know if they talk.
Okay,
but
wait, stop, back up for a minute. Stop. It says it's for 3 to 5 year olds.
Right.
Okay, so by saying it's 3 to 5 year olds, anybody less than 3 couldn't compete.
Well, that was my understanding, but it's happened that they have had kids under 3 in non-regular.
Well, then it seems like to me the show secretary or whoever is running that ring should say, I'm sorry, you're not old enough. Now, my question would be, are clubs prohibited from having some sort of fun thing with these little kids that are 3 and under if the parent is, accompanying them in the ring? I mean, do our rules preclude that? I think that would be something that might need to be defined. But I think our rules are pretty clear that the non-regular peewee class is for 3 to 5 year olds. And if somebody is entered in that class and they're not 3, and if they're less than 3 and they're older than 5, they can't go in there. I mean, it's just like going into the Blue Merle class and you have a black dog. You can't go.
Right.
So that, I don't think that has to do with us defining rules. I think that has to do with enforcement at the show level. Or education. Maybe that would be a better way.
Well, they had a 0 to 3 class at a nationals not long ago in the same format as a junior class, and that was the question when this question came up. So
our bigger question is it okay for affiliate clubs to have non-regular classes, absolutely completely non-regular classes that involve children under the age of 3? We don't have a rule against that.
Right.
Do we need to have a rule against that? I don't know. That needs to be a discussion. You know, the only way I can relate it is we'd had classes at Coast where we had non-regular jackpot ranch trail, you know, classes. Your dog didn't have to have any titles or whatever. We had somewhere we did agility with the dogs and with sheep and things like that, you know. So if ASCA's position was that we do not want children under the age of 3 in the arena at all, then ASCA would need to say that. But
right.
if ASCA's position is the only regular and non-regular classes are going to be from the age of 18 down to the age of 3, and whatever else y'all do is your business, then that's okay too. And maybe the board needs to discuss that and determine what it is. Because right now, the class you're describing is not against the rules.
Right.
The 0 to 3 one, because it's non-regular, it's you know, it could be like an Easter egg hunt with your dog. You know? Right.
It's like on Halloween, there are many shows that allow little kids to go in with their costume and the dog and whatever.
Well, that was not.
So
that was not the.
Yeah. So yeah. But in that case, like on the at the nationals level, when they allowed that class, then you know, again, this is something that I think that the board needs to discuss, and I think that the attorney will also have to be involved in because I think that the ramifications of it are a little bigger than just, you know. I think we're talking about two different things here. Yeah, it's the junior program. I agree with Jean and with Ken. The class is already defined. So if the class is defined and it's 3 to 5, then there's no question. Any little kid, you know, under 3 is not going to be allowed to compete. Period. Now, there is no rule that says that, you know, the club can't make up some regular class where they have younger children. So, but that would not be a part of the junior program, right? It would be some other thing that the club is doing. So, if we want to put a prohibition on that kind of thing, that, as Jean says, that will require another discussion. So what do you want to do, Denise?
Well, I don't think that was the intent. The little fun classes was not the intent of the request. It was an actual regular, you know, in the junior handling program when the kids were under 3, that they're brought in and as a class, as a junior handling class. Not the Easter egg hunt, fun little things like that. So I will relate this back to the junior committee, and they can be more specific.
Okay, sounds good. Any other discussion about this? Well, if not, this was the last item in our agenda. I think we should do a motion to adjourn. But wait, what?
So I had a request come in to me just a little while ago, and I was thinking that this had been clarified already and done, but the Hall of Fame committee wanted to check on Carol Gherkin that the motion It had been made that she had been accepted to the Hall of Fame committee. And I thought that we had done that already, but they hadn't been notified of that, and I hadn't seen anything. So
I was contacted by the chair about this, and I notified her that Carol Gherkin is being voted on this month. And the
Okay, so
results
it's on the voting.
will be posted on June 27th.
okay,
So,
perfect.
so it's on the voting cycle, right, Tyler?
Yes.
Okay,
So, yeah, so we're going to be voting on it in a couple of weeks.
okay, perfect.
All right.
That's all
So,
I had. Thank you.
Are we ready to adjourn? I guess we are.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Please.
Good with me.
All right. Good night, everybody, and thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Thanks for a good meeting.
Good
Thanks.
night.
Good night.